Hi everyone, I'm Kelly Bittler and this is Caleb Bittler, and we're both alumni at Bluefield College. Currently we live in King William County, Virginia. Caleb is the associate pastor at New Bethesda Baptist Church, and we just wanted to share some things with you today. I'm going to be reading from Luke chapter 19 verses 45 and 46. And it says, "When Jesus entered the temple courts, he began to drive out those who were selling. 'It was written,' he said to them, 'My house will be a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of robbers.'"
And so this is the day after Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. That was all very exciting. But as the week goes on, Jesus began to do more and more things that seemed to upset the status quo. And so Jesus comes into the temple on the Monday before Easter, and he overturns the tables of the money changers and those buying and selling in the temple. And this is important because where this is occurring, this is the outermost courtyard of the temple. And this is where the Gentiles would be able to come and pray and worship. These would be the non-Jews. This is where they would have the opportunity to be part of the temple worship. And this was the only part of the temple that they could enter into. But during this time, that was being blocked off from them because these people had come in and basically set up a business in the temple courtyard. And so what they were doing is that people would come in from long distances to sacrifice at the temple, and it was unrealistic for somebody to bring their animal sacrifices from such a long way, and so they would buy them at the temple. That makes sense. But obviously the people selling the animals would charge extra, and they would make their money off of them, and this was all set up in the temple. People couldn't use foreign currencies in the temple, and so their currencies that they brought with them had to be converted to the temple currency, and so all that was set up in this temple courtyard. And of course those people would charge extra for that as well. And so all these things are going on in the temple courtyard, and there's a whole group of people who are being cut off from having an opportunity to worship God and experience His presence in the temple. And so this is what Jesus is overturning and upsetting, this whole process of extorting the poor, extorting people who didn't have any other access to temple worship.
So what we have here is Jesus has upset the status quo. Jesus has been intentional about everything, and we started Holy Week yesterday with Palm Sunday, and now we're at this point to where he's cleared the temple, and he's doing it for a reason. He's upset the status quo, and he's doing this to restore prayer and worship. And so right now we're going through this unprecedented time in history with this virus that has pretty much put a halt to our life as we know it. And so at this time, how is your faith, how is your prayer life, how is your worship being restored right now? For us, we have two small children, Jeremiah and Catherine. They're 4 and 5. Catherine had to go get a checkup on Monday. She had to get shots. And what I experienced was healthcare workers who were being very intentional about how they served us. We have been very intentional about reaching out to those in our church. Caleb and our pastor have been very intentional about putting out devotions and making sure that people are getting spiritually fed during this time. And so how are you being restored? How is Jesus restoring you during this time?